let's get started, everyone. So that way you guys have heaps of times to make some esters today. All right, so Mahia today was just our weekly check-in. So let's get a chance just to check in with each other. I know you guys have been away for the holidays, and then move on to content. All right. So first off, like I said, our little korero, our random question for this week is about what fictional world would you want to walk into? So it could be book, movie, TV series. I'm going to pick someone randomly to tell me their opinion on where they would like to be, and that's going to be Jordan. What fictional world would you live in? Huh? What fictional world would you like to enter? Live in? The Simpsons. I love it. That is my comfort TV show. Let me tell you, whenever I feel like I just want to something mindless to watch, it's that. Simpsons are a good choice. All right, put it in there. Yeah, week number 1. So there's nothing for you guys to write for what you learned last week because you guys had holiday. So you can either tell me how your holidays were, or you can tell me what you're excited about this term. It sounds like a lot of you guys are excited for the bowl. And then random question and your micro goal. I'll pick someone else out for this game question because I think it's a fun question. Hannah, what fictional world would you want to live in?
No, it's fine. I'd probably jump into an anime like Naruto or something because ninjas would be everywhere and stuff. Cool.
Someone else in my year 10 class said anime as well, but they couldn't name which specific show. They just wanted to live in anime. I was just okay. I think I would pick Harry Potter. I was debating between Harry Potter and Marvel, but I figured Harry Potter, I'm more likely to be a wizard, because I feel like there's not that many superheroes, but there's more wizards.
Yeah, because you can choose to be.
Yeah, and I also didn't want to be a superhero, because I feel like that's a lot of pressure, you know? What's the other point? If you're not a superhero in the Marvel franchise, then what do you want? There's no point, you know? And I didn't want to be a superhero. So, anyway, anybody else want to share theirs before we move on? Random world they would want to live in?
I think about this question a lot. I would do Made in Abyss. The world in Made in Abyss is very, very dense, and there's a lot of life I'd love to look into.
That's fair. I'm just, no one said Star Trek, which is interesting, or Star Wars yet. Star Trek or Star Wars. I feel like that's what my partner would do. Hey Karen, what do you need?
Do you have a bucket of sand?
I thought I had a bucket of sand. Oh wait, it's that red bucket.
Excellent.
Yeah.
I'm doing volume surface area using OH2 transformers to do surface area volume ratio for the drawing.
That'll work. All right, micro goal for this week. Remember, it doesn't need to be academic. Some of you guys might have. Oh, I thought that was my sand bucket. I should have a sand bucket. Right. Micro goal for this week doesn't necessarily need to be an academic one. Could be I want to get my ball dress. Person sharing their micro goal this week is going to be Lisa. What's your goal for this week?
To be able to catch up on all my schoolwork.
To be able to catch up on all the schoolwork. That's a big one. I know a lot of people say that, but try to be more specific because it's going to be overwhelming otherwise. Okay? So if you can name one thing in maybe each subject, then that helps you kind of target your goal. And also gives you to pat you on the back. Because if you say, I need to catch up on all my schoolwork, it's very hard to catch up on all of it. But if you're I want to catch up on this, this, and this, and then you feel like you've accomplished it, you can pat yourself on the back and you feel good. Otherwise, you just feel like you're not accomplishing anything when you actually are. Does that make sense? Yeah, I hope that helped. All right, anybody else want to share their micro goal for this week? No? Anything else before we move on? No, remember to pay for ball, because I think they gave a little bit of an extension.
Yeah, this Friday.
This Friday. All right. Cool. So let's switch gears and talk about our learning journey. So just as a reminder of what we've done so far, we have actually covered the bulk of organic chemistry at this point, which is some good news. There's only a handful of stuff that needs to be covered. I'd say maybe about a quarter of the material needs to still be covered, but most of it's done. And you guys can actually tackle most of the questions on No Brain Too Small and on the past NCAA exams, because the stuff that I have to teach is very kind of a very small section of it. So we're more or less pretty ready to assess on this topic. I want to give you guys a heads up that I'm planning for us to do a practice organic test in week 4 on the Monday, so that way you guys have the weekend to study. What I will do to help kind of ease up on that anxiety, I know you guys have had the remote learning and COVID, and people are a little bit all over the show and a little bit behind. So what I've decided to do is I'm going to let you bring in a cheat sheet for this practice test. So when I say a cheat sheet, it is going to be an A4 size piece of paper. You can write anything that you want on there. Just one-sided, not the back side. All right? If you want, you can fold the paper in half and do both sides. Some of you guys like to have small pieces of paper. But basically, the material for one A4. I'm happy if you want to type it. I'm happy if you want to handwrite it. It needs to be your own. You can't make one and give it to all your friends because that's not useful. It's also really good for revision. But you can bring that in and use that on the practice test. And that'll help ease off of anxiety. I figured this is probably better than doing OpenNote because I feel like OpenNote would be too overwhelming. And this is actually a really good revision tool to have a summary sheet. So that's what we'll do for this first go at the organic chemistry test, to let you guys have that going in. And then I think, like I said, we'll ease off on some anxiety. So plan for that in week 4. You're welcome to get started on the cheat sheet now that you know you're going to have one. Today's learning intention is going to be on creating esters. Esters was the last thing we did before we went on holiday. And I want you guys to have that chance to do a practical to make esters. Unfortunately for the level 3 course, I don't think it's limited to chemistry. I would also say biology is in the same boat. There's not a whole lot of practicals you can do. And so any opportunity they can do a practical, I'm going to do it. So in this case, we're going to be making some esters today in class. And also it'll be a nice little way to revise the material too. Cool. All right, any questions so far? All right, and then last thing before we dive into the lesson is our weekly Fakatoki. So in this week we have ko atu te hie, te futu, te ra ke. There's an E. Out in the open expanse of the sky. The other way you can think about this is an outstanding individual. I think this is a great one for us to have for this week because we're now back at school. You're back with your friends, you're back seeing your teachers, and you can really kind of think about the outstanding people around you, and also setting the term, or starting the term on a good note, be outstanding as well. So that's what we're kind of thinking about for this week. All right, other thing we'll do then is our lesson. So I want to remind you guys of some routines and some things I've changed. We'll talk about the experiment and review esters with that experiment, and then you guys have a chance to make your own. And then with whatever time you have left, you can do multiple choice as well, or you can just keep making esters, you're not too fussed. They all smell different, so that's kind of neat. And then on our success criteria, we are looking at 1G, which is the ester family of functioning groups. So identifying them, naming them, drawing them. Cool. All right, so here's some routine reminders and also some things that I'm changing. First off, reminder to make sure your phones are in your pockets or in your bags. Use your devices if you need access to internet, but I am mindful that you guys obviously use your side pads and there's the QR code to find the answers. So I'm happy for you guys to check your answers in the side pad, but please let me know so that way I don't tell you off for using your phone in class, because then I know you're actually using it responsibly. And there might be instances where I'd be like, oh, use the phone instead of the device for Kahoot and things like that. So just a reminder about being responsible with phones. So right now they shouldn't be on your desk. You shouldn't need them because we're done with the technical side of it. So in fact, you don't need your devices out at all because all I needed the devices for were for your weekly check-ins. All right, I also have noticed in the past people using the side benches and even their computers to charge their phones. I really don't like using the computers to charge the phone because then your computer goes flat and you can't do your schoolwork. So just as a reminder, I do have a charging station in my closet if you guys need to charge any of your phones. I'm happy to charge them. If you don't have a phone charger or a cable, I have them, so you can borrow them as well. So basically, if you have a flat phone, I can sort you out. But I want it charged in there so that way it's not potentially going to get chemical on it and stuff like that. All right, cool. Other thing I've decided, since you guys are seniors with the loan shark policy, I don't need to borrow. You don't need to leave me collateral. I trust you guys to return things. So just walking up and grab whatever you need. Yeah, something else I wanted to change. And then I've also decided that since you're seniors, I figured you're pretty responsible and you can manage when you want to go to the bathroom. So I won't do bathroom passes for you guys.
Do I still do my stickers?
If you guys want, I can give you your stickers.
I still want that.
I'm happy to give you those stickers from last year if you want. It's just too much for me to keep track of.
Yeah.
And I think you guys will be fine. But the policy still goes, you can't leave in the first 30 minutes. And what I will do is for people that are going to the bathroom, because it's only one out at a time, I'm just going to put the hand sanitizer where you're sitting so that way I know who's out and if someone's out. So, sound good? Yeah. Those are some changes to the routines. But we will keep the lolly charts because I think that's fun, because stickers are fun. And if you have bathroom passes still, I can give you credit for last term because you didn't use them. All right, cool. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to walk through the experiment on how we're going to make an ester. And I will also write up the ester that we've made. It's a nice little reminder of the task. What I've done is I've laminated the experiment and the esters that are possible to make. We obviously don't have all the chemicals, so I will tell you what limited scope we have. Oh, that one really got wonky. The method that we're going to be using today is going to be slightly different from the one that's going to be written here, but it's more or less the same idea. I decided I want to change a few steps around just to kind of make it more streamlined. Are we good so far? Yeah. All right, so let's talk about esters. So, kind of point out where things are in the classroom and what you'll need. And unfortunately, only some of it will get on the document camera. That document camera is showing what my year 9s were doing. Yeah. All right. So I've tried to arrange the room in a kind of logical sense to get all your steps in. So we're going to do things in a little bit different order. What you guys will do as your first step They did say probably not. Bye, Hannah. Office? Hannah, you were cold too.
Was I?
Yeah, I heard your name too.
Oh, I wasn't listening. Oh.
That's why I was like looking at you and being like, Hannah, you're supposed to go
I wasn't listening. Okay, see you smell.
too. You'll be back. All right. So I've changed the order a little bit. The first thing I'm going to have you guys do, the first thing we should do is safety requirements. So I'm going to tie up my hair. So if you do have long hair, tie it up. If you need a hair tie, I do have spare hair ties in the loan shark area. Other things we're going to need to do is make sure you have your coats off or your sleeves pulled up. I would prefer coats off, so that way you eliminate that potential risk factor of your sleeves accidentally picking up some solution. And then the other thing we need to have are goggles. So I put the goggles over there, not next to Lisa, well, the desk near Lisa. And I want us wearing gloves for this experiment just because I'm giving you guys some pretty nasty chemicals and I just want to put that extra layer of protection. So, why am I struggling with this? I did this. Trying to recycle these guys. All right. Can't see. I might just get some new gloves because that's too hard. All right. So gloves are here. If you need more medium-sized ones, I can go grab some more. There's small and there's large, but I don't. I have a small, really small. You may not want to use that. I thought I could be small, but. Alright, so with these steps, first thing I'm going to want you guys to do is get a test tube. So I put them over here. And then you're going to be doing 10 drops of a carboxylic acid and 10 drops of an alcohol. Try to get that ratio right, because if you have extra of either, you might smell that instead of the ester. So I've laid out the carboxylic acids over there, and all the alcohols are over here. With these alcohols, I put them into little beakers, just to make it a little bit easier to access. So that's going to be the first thing that you're going to do. Then, actually, let me tell you what choices we have. Choices-wise, we have, for the carboxylic acid, ethanoic and propanoic acid. And then for the alcohols, we have, I believe, up to pentanol. And this one here is the propane or something, isobutanol. So basically, you can make anything within these parameters from what I have. Sorry, it's limited. I know some of you guys are looking at some of the other ones. You're like, I want to do this one. Yeah. Are we okay with that so far?
Yeah.
All right. So after you have your carboxylic acid and your alcohols in your test tube, you're going to come over to me. So we're just going to do like a little, this is the starting point. You're going to go collect your things. And then we're going to go to the hood, where I will be at. At the hood is where you're going to get your sulfuric acid, and you're going to get that from me, because I don't want you guys handling the sulfuric acid directly. So I will get your test tube, I will add the sulfuric acid, which is our catalyst. And then all of that will be in your test tube. Then you'll be able to grab yourself a beaker. Hopefully that's hot, so come on. You're going to put hot water into the beaker and your test tube then into the beaker. So that way it heats, and you're going to heat it for about a minute. So that way we have that reaction occurring to make that ester. And then you are going to add some sodium carbonate. Now what's the sodium carbonate for? You guys remember? To neutralize. So there's two things I want to neutralize. I want to neutralize the carboxylic acid that could be left over, but more importantly, I want to neutralize that sulfuric acid because it's concentrated. Cool. So once you have all that sorted, you have your little test tube. I thought it would be nice, so that way you guys can smell it a bit better, to take the test tube and pour it onto a petri dish so it spreads out and makes the surface area a bit larger, and then you can smell the ester. You are going to waft it, not sniff it, because that's not safe science. I'm happy for today if you guys want to lower your mask, you can get a better waft. Just because I'm mindful of the mask, I think it's hard to smell it. Cool. I thought it would be a good idea for us to keep all the esters and we can clean up till the very end so we can smell the other esters. There's at least 8 different ones you can make. So I have pieces of paper for us, for you to kind of leave your sample, write down the ester that you've made. Write down your name too, because it'd be interesting to see if you both make the same thing, if it doesn't smell the same. And then we'll clean up at the end. When it comes to clean up, it's really important that you guys are washing all the equipment really well. Mainly the petri dish and the test tubes, because both of those things will have the chemicals in it. But before you start washing it, you need to discard the ester into its own separate jar. The reason why the discard needs to go down into a separate jar is because it's non-polar, it's not water soluble, and if it goes down by sink, you can clog it. So pour whatever remnants you have into my waste jar, and then wash. Cool? All right, I'm gonna walk through one so you guys have all the steps to the experiment. And then we can see what it smells like, and then you guys will have a go at it, and also I'll write up the answer. Sound good? All right. I was thinking I should make the banana one, because I think that would be hopefully a stronger and noticeable smell. I can't remember which ones really worked well and which ones didn't work well, but I feel like the banana would be a good one to test. So let me take this stuff off. All right, so to make the banana, I need ethanoic acid and I need pentan 1-ol. as my two components. So I'm gonna walk through and do one example for you guys. And then you guys can have a go. Actually, I'll write it up too. All right, so I want acetic acid is my ethanoic acid. It's 2 carbons long. Remember, you want to do about 10 drops, and you're trying to get it 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So I'm trying to get this really accurate, because if I get the ratios wrong, I'm going to get extra acetic acid left over, or extra ethanoic acid. Acetic acid is the common name for it. Do you guys know what this is? Like, you can eat this.
Acetic acid. Isn't it used to
Vinegar.
Okay.
Does vinegar smell good? No. So let's get the ratio right. All right. The other thing I need is the pentanol. So that's that one here. Pentan 1-all is in this one. I've lined up all the beakers, so don't move the beakers around. So again, we're going to do 10 drops. It'd be like kindergarten. You can count to 10. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Now we can see that these guys have 2 layers because that alcohol is quite a long carbon chain, and so it's not mixing very well, which is fine. We're going to add some sulfuric acid, we're going to heat it, and hopefully the ester makes, because I want to smell bananas. Also, you know how you guys have those candies and artificial flavors?
Yeah,
That's where this is coming from.
Yeah.
So, all right, next thing I need to do then is sulfuric acid. I will do this step for you because I don't want to risk you guys getting an acid burn. I have gotten an acid burn in the past, and let me tell you, it was like seriously painful. It was actually the first day of when I was doing my master's, and it was my first day in the lab, and it was very embarrassing. So I won't do that. All right, so with this one here, I believe it says 5 drops on the instructions, doesn't it? Double check the instructions. Yeah, 5 drops of sulfuric acid, which is what I'm going to give you. 3, 4, 5. Right. And then the last step, not last step, next step, is I need to put it in some hot water. Why do I need some hot water? Heat it up, catalyst, get it going. So, I need the sulfuric acid and I need the hot water to act as my catalyst. If I had given you guys an acid chloride instead of carboxylic acid, we wouldn't need the sulfuric acid and we wouldn't need the hot water because it would have happened instantaneously. Very fast, rapid reaction. But those guys are pretty dangerous to use, so we're going to do this instead. So we leave it in there for about a minute. Hopefully it will react and work. And then, what's my next step?
And then you need to base it enough.
Base it. Well, it should. Sodium carbonate is in there.
Well, the test tube is on hot.
Yeah.
Oh, after you take it out of the
Yeah. So I want the sodium carbonate to do what? To neutralize again, okay? Especially when I have given you concentrated sulfuric acid. That's probably about it, right?
Yeah.
So we're going to put a lot in there.
Whoa.
We're supposed to fill it halfway. I don't
Yeah.
think we can fill it to halfway. Just a rough estimate. I also give you guys more concentrated sodium carbonate, so that way you don't have to use much. So I think once it starts bubbling, I should feel it. Probably okay. All right. Now, you should notice that there's 2 layers that have formed. They're really distinct. And that's because esters are non-polar. They're also less dense than the water, so they're on top. Do you guys remember why there's bubbles forming? Oh, that's really cool. That form bubbles? Because of the carbonate and it's forming what gas? Carbon dioxide. So that's how you know you've done it right. All right. Our last step then, so you guys can smell it a bit better, is you're going to pour it onto a little petri dish.
The whole thing.
The whole thing. And you should then be able to hopefully waft it. Oh, it's more blue. It smells like banana. You want me to walk around and guess the smell?
Wait, so it's so different things maybe
Waft it.
That's nice. Oh, that smells. Yeah, I can smell.
Oh. I know, it's banana.
We don't know. Whatever you want. She said some of them are water and some of them are
Well, that could be a lot of yeah, that's not the first.
That's good.
Okay, I'll put this on the side
I think that's the next thing.
and I'll write down what it is. So if we want to smell it again, where's my pen? Alright, so we did this is banana. And we mixed the pentanol. So this would be pentanol ethanoate. Cool. So I'm leaving it on the side here. I'll write it in the garlic pieces. And that way people can smell each other's stuff. Are we good? All right. Shall I just do a quick revision on Esters and naming and drawing? You know what we're naming? Alright. So just as a note of what you put together, we put the ethanoic acid with the pentanol. So this would be pentyl ethanoate.
What is that? I mean, I have studied on it.
So that's what I made. Pentyl ethanoate. Are we good?
Yeah.
All right, you guys want to give this a go?
Yeah.
Okay. So, just keep in mind that there is an analysis. You can either write it in a Google Doc or you can write it on your notebook. Remember, it's important to do that sort of stuff, otherwise you're just mucking around. There's some theory questions, and then most importantly, I want you to name and draw the esters that you're making. And then leave them on the side so that way other people can see and smell them. Cool. So we'll do that, and then I'll let you know when we need to clean up. Whew. All right, so safety first. So goggles, hair tied up, take off jackets and things, or roll up your sleeves. You do need to have closed-toed shoes. If you don't have closed-toed shoes, I might figure something else out. And yeah, let's hop to it.
Okay, well, then it's gonna be like that.
Cool. All right, so just to recap today's lesson, you guys had a chance to create your own esters experimentally. These are some analysis questions just to make sure you understand the steps of the practical and why you're doing it. There's also a list of Mahi choice activities that you can do as follow-up. This is the exact same list of stuff that you guys had when you did your esters lesson. We were talking a lot about perfumes while you guys were making your esters, because they do use esters as part of perfume process. There is a podcast if you guys want to listen to it. It's quite interesting just to understand the science behind how they make perfumes. So yeah, like I said, today we were looking at creating esters as a means of revising the ester content. So hopefully you should be able to know how to make them, how to draw them, the different steps in the technique. Before you guys tables and you also close the windows. Oh, and great work today. Let me give you guys some coffee beans.
Yay.
Okay, lots of Esters. Big handful. You guys will get a reward soon.
I have a coffee. I have a